So we haven't done a joint live stream. Well, we've been doing lots of joint live streams, but we haven't done a joint public live stream for a little bit.
I know.
I honestly feel that we should just address the issue of everybody fucking hating on us.
Yeah, can I please talk? Now somebody is reporting all my images, all of my text, like that is to do with what we're doing together. One of y'all is reporting all of my texts. But do you know what? Somebody reported my Corona Care Guide yesterday on Instagram. Babe,
so
it got taken off.
This is so interesting, right? It's like, I just sit here and go, how miserable do you have to be spending your time right now with all of this going on in the world? Yeah. Right? With all of this like perceived, I'm probably going to use a lot of quote marks tonight. With all of this perceived like pandemic and horror and death and everything that's happening in the world.
It's crazy.
What kind of a person do you have to be spending your time reporting posts, photos, texts, links of somebody that's out there trying to help?
I mean, it's totally beyond me.
And if you actually just took that focus that you were putting, like all your hate, and you actually put it towards like your own fucking business and your own shit, like if you expended all that energy, you would be making a lot of money.
A lot. Yeah, a lot. It just feels really gross that somebody's doing that. And it's been happening for a while.
Yeah. So I guess like just to address the elephant in the room, like we are aware that people are quite polarized and triggered by
totally.
two of us together.
Yeah, 100%. Which is just, again, totally beyond me. I don't live in that paradigm of thought, and neither do I have time for it. So it's just, isn't it? It's just interesting, very interesting.
Yeah. So like Michelle has gotten like people have personally reached out to her to let her know that they're triggered by me or by us working together.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's interesting. It's like, I think we've gotten a lot of feedback. We've gotten good feedback as well, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we have like 30 people signed up for our program that are like absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
But I just, for me, it's like, yes, we are two very strong personalities. And I totally get and understand that can be quite intimidating.
Yeah.
Or triggering.
Or,
yeah. And so I think that if you're having some kind of emotional response when you see the two of us together talking about things, like it's a really good opportunity to look within and figure out what's going on. And also probably to come join one of our programs and sort your shit out. Sort out your elemental imbalance that's causing you to get your panties all in a bunch.
It's just really interesting, isn't it? There's no, it's just really interesting. And like when people become triggered, like if I'm triggered by anything, I always go back to source, which is me, and work out what kind of shit I'm working through, what kind of stuff is, sitting around in the murky pools of my my depths of humanity, to see why I'm feeling that way. But it seems that a lot of people don't do that work. They say they do that work, but they don't. Otherwise,
and that's the thing, right? It's like, if you are truly dedicated to self-mastery, it's never about the other person. For me, the thing that I find is if I'm triggered in that way, or if I'm affected in that way, like in most cases, I'm running towards that thing because there's something there for me.
Absolutely. Definitely.
And,
it's all about being uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. And But that is what self-mastery is. That is what self-accountability is. That is what self-responsibility is. Hey, Maria.
Hey, Maria.
And, you know, I find it fascinating. It's exactly what you just said, which is there are so many people out there saying they do this work, but they don't really.
No, definitely. 100% not. I encounter them all the time. I'm sure you do too.
So I think it's interesting. Like, oh, go ahead.
I think, you know, what's interesting as well is that through this kind of perpetual tsunami of fear that we're experiencing globally, you know, because of this pandemic or whatever, you can see, yes, you can see traits of that coming through the conscious leaders or people that, you know, are supposed to have their shit together coming through. Like, it's that same thing that you said, that we were just saying, that, you know, there's a lot of perception about who we are as people. I mean, I'm totally honest about my shit. You know, when Leah sees me slip into my cancer all the time.
Not pretty, people. It's not pretty.
But it's about ownership and self-ownership. So like the whole being triggered aspect, like bring that to yourself, point number one. But the point I was making about the pandemic is that all of these people that are supposed to have their shit together now don't have their shit together. All of these really powerful minds, like these hugely powerful conscious minds, are aiding to this kind of support system of fear, you know, fear. And it's just, it just doesn't go hand in hand with who we're supposed to be as people, you know. And I know who we are as people changes every second. It changes every second, but it's good to have a direct framework. And when shit like this happens and it throws us off, you know, just go back to that framework and see where you can strengthen your foundations. But please stop reporting my pictures.
I mean, yeah, and that's, I mean, it's interesting. It's like something definitely I want to touch on. I was talking about it in my apprenticeship program today. And I was talking about, like, you know, at the end of the year last year, I spent a couple of months talking about this thing that was coming first quarter. And I had the strongest, I had the strongest premonitions and feelings that this separation was going to occur. And that all of these people that were awakened were going to go back to sleep.
Yeah, you did. It was crazy.
And so now, like, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing all of these, you know, supposedly conscious leaders being completely, like, gripped in the jaws of this fear pandemic, which is really, like, if there's a pandemic right now, it's a fear pandemic as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that I'm always talking about. Mind your mind and mind your mouth, especially if you've been doing manifestation and creation work. If you have tapped into that chain, if you've tapped into that stream of consciousness and you have begun to create and manifest and master those skills of manifestation, your skills of manifestation are equally as powerful on the negative side as they are on the positive side. So literally what we're seeing right now is a whole fucking globe of humans that are manifesting this fear pandemic.
Definitely.
And we have all of these conscious leaders who, as far as I'm concerned, have fucking gone to sleep.
Yeah.
And I think that there's going to be such a need, because, so I think three things are happening. We talked about this in the apprenticeship, which wasn't what I was planning on talking about on this live stream, but it seems fitting, is that I feel like there's these three streams of people. Okay. There's the people that were already asleep and they're just fucking still asleep. They're the sheeple, right? They're just following everything blindly, questioning nothing. Like, that's them. Then we have this group of people who were awakened that are going back to sleep.
Agreed.
Then we have this newly awakened. I think this is also causing, there's a smaller group, which I think, I'm hoping, and I feel like it's going to start to get bigger, but there's a small group of people that, like, this craziness that's happening is actually getting them to wake up.
Yeah.
And then we have the people, I think, that, you know, when in the fall, when I was talking and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to be in a different dimension. Like, I just feel like there's a huge separation. Then it's like, we're the ones that everybody's just like, oh, they're crazy, because we're just like, y'all are crazy.
Yes. that was
like,
we were talking about all this in December, right? Like we
yeah,
were totally all
November,
talking about
December.
and we were sick as fuck as well in
Yes.
December. I was so ill. I felt like I was ill the whole of December.
Yeah, me too. We both were. And so were some of the other women in the mastermind.
Yeah, totally.
Like
yeah,
they were also sick.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, I feel like it's, you know, we're in this place where I'm just like, I'm not fucking energetically available for Miss Rona.
No, I am so not. I'm so not. And I'm glad that I mean, Joe, bless Dr. Joe, like he's such a big part of my life anyway. But it really helped that you started that 90 days solid, you know, because I'm pretty solid in my meditation. I know you are too. But really helped. It's really pulled me out of kind of getting caught up in this whirlwind of other people's perpetual Rona talk. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, and that was the thing. That's literally, I started it for no other reason other than I was like, you know what? I need a dedicated meditation practice right now because it was starting to affect me. Like it was starting to, and it's like, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if I was saying today in my apprenticeship, I'm like, I don't fucking care if you're the Buddha. Like this shit that's happening right now, it cannot not affect you. It doesn't. If you were living in a fucking cave meditating 20 hours a day, it would still be affecting you because it's so strong in the collective consciousness. So I just knew. I was like, I'm fucked up, and I was like, I need to start this meditation group. So I've meditated. Today was my day 11 in a row, and I'm so looking forward to it every day. It's like non-fucking negotiable.
Yeah, me too. It's life-changing at the moment, like in this current kind of environment, isn't it? It's like it has been really, really grounding and really important, and to carry on journaling and to carry on with the same mind state that we spend so much time cultivating before this manifested magically, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
The thing with the meditation too, for me, is like the more consistent I've been in the meditation. So the longer the days go by, the more, you know, the next day, it's like every day I feel like I have more objectivity and less fear and concern about what's happening. It's like the more I meditate, the more I'm in a state of observation instead of a state of like reactivity. So now I can actually look at the stuff and be like, and literally now my connection to the divine is back strong. Yeah. Because when all that fear shit happens, it literally disintegrates your connection to source.
Yeah, totally. 100%. So
when you get out of that and you rebuild that, then now I'm like, oh, I have clarity of source. I have clarity in my connection to source too. So I have an ability to like trust my bullshit meter. Yeah. When it's like, that's a fucking lie.
Exactly.
That's not real. That's not true.
That's a good time. That's what it was. It was really kind of lighting embers in my bullshit meter. That's what was happening, you know? And then just to get that back and just to come back to, like we're saying, the same practices as we would do every day, the same thing that we would do every day. You know, I really, and I'm aware the world is in a state of complete catastrophe, like, or whatever you want to call it, but I'm just not here for it. I'm not, like you said, energetically available for it. I am acknowledging it. Of course, we have to acknowledge it. I'm trapped in my house, but it doesn't mean that, you know, every aspect of my physical health or my mental or spiritual conscious state has to then fall away with every news alert on Google. You know, it's not going to make me be any less of a person than I was 2 weeks ago. In fact, it's going to make me more of a person.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this pandemic is more catastrophic to the mental health of the people on this planet than it is to their physical health, or they ever even had a chance of being or becoming.
Yeah. The mental health situation is, I mean, even speaking to a few friends of mine who don't have family, you know, who may not be British and are stuck in London in apartments by themselves, and they're really suffering. Really, really suffering. So just putting in those really dedicated practices of self-mastery and, you know, anything that's going to support the elevated conscious state and retain that unbroken connection to the divine.
Yeah.
Is what's important.
I was going to share a link to the group. So if you guys are interested in doing this with us, it literally is just pure accountability and support. And we have like, there's like 750 people in there now, which is so amazing.
It's amazing.
So you can join. I just put the link there. It's the group's called 90 Day Dr. Joe for the Planet. And it's like the idea behind it was like 90 days to raise the collective consciousness of the planet with Joe Dispenza meditation. So everybody in there is just doing Joe Dispenza every day. And then literally like the discussion thread is like, I did this meditation today, or I did that meditation today. So would love for you guys to join us if that calls to you.
Definitely join in. We will change the moment.
Oh, there you are. So the purpose of this live stream tonight was to talk about two things. One, our new clearing modality, elemental emotional resonance clearing. So I'm super excited to be doing that. I did an epic clearing session of the fire element today in our inner alchemy container. And I had the opportunity to explain to the participants in the inner alchemy program all about the emotional clearing modality and why it works and why we feel like it's so revolutionary. And so, okay. And I thought Jack was coming in, but he's over in Shaw's. So, and like why we think it's so revolutionary and what makes it different and why it's unique. And so that's really like was the purpose of this. We wanted to come on and talk about it. And talk a little bit about our inner alchemy program that just started, that I feel like anyone that's doing any type of emotional clearing modality should be in, because to not have this information on the elements is just like, it blows my mind. And so it's interesting because in our inner alchemy program, I think there's 4 or 5 spiral practitioners in there. And they were the ones today during the call that were just like, this, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my God, this is crazy. Like they were so excited by being able to have the ability to like go this deep with a clearing modality. So we definitely want to talk about that. And then we want to talk about, we're doing a master class tomorrow night called Death to Humanity that we want to talk about, but we can talk about that at the end.
I love that. I'm sorry, I just love the title. It is what it is.
The death of humanity, the rebirth of the immortal soul is what the masterclass is called.
Indeed.
I mean, I feel like you should sign up for it just because it has a badass name.
Yeah, exactly. You totally need to sign up for it just because of that.
Like, who doesn't want to see what the fuck that's about is what I really want to know.
It's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward.
So the emotional clearing modality was born because I don't even actually know how. I started working with you one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. And it started expanding my clearing practice because I was really understanding how the elements were working.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I've put a note in my thing to talk to you about that I want to go back to having regular classes because I want to deep dive into the spirits.
Let's do, oh my God, the spirits, Leah. Ugh. I'm such a geek for this shit. I love it.
So we just started like talking about it, right? And I don't know, somehow in the process, we were like, we need to create a clearing modality.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, no, we weren't like, we need to create a clearing modality. We were like, we just need to do emotional clearing in the elements. And then I started laying it out and I was like, this is a fucking modality.
Yeah. And then we just started deep diving and creating all the different kind of philosophical layers of it. Like, especially like separate, especially using like the mother and child associations with the emotions and how one element may not just be producing the emotions that you're clearing from, which is why you may get repetitive kind of chronic emotional cycles because it could be coming from, you know, the mother element.
Yeah. So I touched on that today in Inner Alchemy, and I was like, we're not going to be doing that for the purpose of this program because we're just clearing inside each element, right? But that is something that we're really deep diving into in Becoming Immortal, which is our 6-month program that will be starting in June. So that program, we're going to be really diving into the modality. But it was crazy because it was like after one clearing session today, I had 2 people reach out to me asking if we can train them in the modality.
Yeah. That's exciting because that was the goal. That was the goal anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But we were like thinking like, what, a year down the road or something. Yeah. Not like the second we put it out into the world. So, for me, you know, I'm an advanced spiral practitioner, and I am a like huge fan of the work. I have developed a lot of my own clearing processes, and I think this is important maybe to just like talk about this for a minute because we come from very different worlds. And I think this might be part of what triggers people, right? Because you're like this super nerdy, smart PhD, teaches at Oxford, hoity-toity, Chinese medicine. Like you're the intellectual, right? Like you're the doctor, you're the intellectual, like you're the super scientific person. And I'm, you know, well, when people want to put me down, they're like that money woman, or that money coach, or that wealth woman. So, but I think the thing that people, you know, don't realize is like, I have worked in the healing profession. Yeah. Basically my entire adult life. Yeah. I owned addiction treatment programs. Yeah. I've been in the coaching, and not just coaching. I mean, involved in, you know, running teams of clinical professionals. Yeah. And my mom is a Jungian psychologist. Yeah. And so I was raised by a Jungian psychologist. So I've had a ton of exposure to different therapeutic modalities and different therapeutic ways of treating different physical and emotional and psychological dis-ease, right? So it's something that's always been a really big part of my life. So when I found emotional clearing, it was, for me, like, it was so amazing because I was able to start treating myself and also treating my clients with a modality that worked, the spiral at the time, right? And so the more I deep dove into the work, the more my obsession with becoming wealthy in all areas of my life, well and healthy, evolved. And I started to create my own proprietary clearing modalities and systems and structures for my wealth repatterning programs. Yeah. And so I've been doing that now for a year inside of those containers. And so when you and I came together, though I think maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense just on the surface level, like if you look at my Facebook page and the programs that I'm running and your Facebook page and the things that you do, it may not make sense, but there's actually a lot of cohesion.
There is a lot of cohesion. And also I think that we're in a time as well where I'm going to try not to go on a rant now because this shit really pisses me off. I just have to say, like, we're either, you know, I'm all about this like separation. We separate like our mind and spirit and all the things, right? Rather than bringing them together. Now, a lot of the time while things like the law of attraction say, is bullshit to me. If you don't have, you know, the basic understanding of manifestation and action and feeling behind it. It's the same thing while you can drink smoothies all day and still not cure that chronic disease you have, because you have no understanding of your organ systems or your system. So there's no understanding, there's no kind of conscious connection between the body and the ideology of you being well. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that there needs to be a perfect kind of exchange, which I think happens between us, between science and juju. Because it does, right? Because you need both aspects of it. like I wrote an immune piece like a couple days ago about the immune system, and everybody, you know, everybody's on Dr. Google right now, like looking what boosts my immune system, what boosts my immune system. But do you even know what your immune system is? Do you even know where it is in your body, the organs that it's in? Do you know how it functions? Do you know what it needs? There's no point cutting to the chase and being like, okay, I'll just take some probiotics without understanding how the immune system works. It's kind of like the law of attraction. You're like, oh, I want to be rich. I'm going to write fake $4 million checks every day and stick them on my wall. And when I wake up and look at them, it's just going to happen. I know you know what I mean. It's the same thing. It's like, it's the same thing, because everything is a train of like conscious acknowledgement and mastery between the body and the mind, right? But for some reason, we just want to skip all that part. We want to skip the part and just be well and be rich without actually understanding anything to do with your body. Like, it's crazy.
Or doing the work that it requires to get
work. It's crazy. Miss me, people. Stop inboxing me about what to take for your immune system. Get it. All you're gonna
Do you know what they can take for their immune system? leadpages.com/inner alchemy.
Exactly. That's what you can take for your immune system. Like, or what you will get is be like, yeah, I'll give you something for your immune system, and you'll get like 4 pages of education on it. That's what you're going to get. Like, this is why I'm so deeply into self-mastery, is that, and I know you are too, it's that marrying of all aspects, like the holistic potential of the human being, and stop just missing out the middle bits and expecting you can manifest all this shit when you don't have the basic foundations of action to even get it.
I just had, oh my God, I just got it. It just dropped in the 6 and 4 thing. I just got it. Hold on. I have to write it down and then we talk about it later.
Oh my God, magic. So yeah. So this is just what's really, what I think is great about our collaborations, and just, this is why our friendship is so good as well, is because we're not about missing the pieces to create the house. Yeah. You know, you have to have all the building blocks, and it's really about inspiring that in people. Why wouldn't you want to know how your body works? Why would you just want to eat kimchi without knowing what it's doing? A lot of people don't even know what probiotics are. They're just like, just tell me where I can get it. I'm like, do you even know why you need the good bacteria? Do you even know what it does for your system? Like, get it together, people. You know, we're all talking about this world pandemic, but you don't even know how your body works. You don't even know what a virus is. Somebody that's talking about corona on their Facebook page every day, please write a piece on what a viral load is and how it affects your system, how it gets in, what causes it. Aren't these the things that we should be like?
Yeah, but they don't know that. They don't have that information. They don't know that. Like, that's the thing that's like such insanity. So Erin Wilson just commented. She said, ladies, I'm so much hearing what you're saying. I feel that I've been building up to some kind of relationship with both of you for my entire life.
Oh,
Sweet. So, yeah, so I mean, like, this is kind of my thing. This is my jam, like identifying. And I think it's so funny because I like wrote this post about like how I'm emotionless the other day. I didn't actually say I was emotionless, by the way. I just said I wasn't overly emotional. But guess part of why I'm not overly emotional? Because I'm constantly fucking clearing my elements and handling my stuff in stagnant shit.
Exactly.
Like,
this is what I'm saying.
Not emotionally volatile. I'm not emotionally volatile and out of balance because I'm constantly practicing elemental clearing and spiritual hygiene.
Yeah, me too.
That's why.
Yes, I love that spiritual hygiene. Fuck off. You need to trademark that. Okay. But it's true. It's true. And I get the same thing. I don't think that you're savage at all. I don't know why people have this, like, people think I'm savage though as well. It's the same thing. It's like, but surely there has to be an understanding that when you do such a level of clearing or so much emotional work, sometimes you're just not flayed by the frequencies of life like other people are. I'm certainly not.
Well, and I think the other thing is like, we're very much like, I'm not here to take other people's bullshit or their projections. Like I'm definitely, I'm a 5'1" in human design. So I'm definitely always going to be the mirror, but like, I'm really not here to like accept people's projections. And I think that's part of the problem that people have. It's like, they want to put stuff upon me and they want me to take it.
Yeah.
But I'm just not here for that, right? I'm definitely here to like hold the mirror and let you see what it is that you need to work on, which actually makes me the perfect person to design an emotional clearing modality, to take you through an emotional clearing modality, because you're going to have, just in interacting with me, you're going to have the ability to see that part of yourself very clearly. But totally. I'm not here to take it on. And I think you're the same. Like, you know, you definitely are like in your practice or with your clients, you're just like, you know, you're not going to let them sit there and talk to you for an hour and a half about their problems. You're not going to like, you're not here for it.
No, I'm here for cultivating the remembrance of your potential. Like, and that's it. Not supporting the bullshit that comes with that. I think we do too much bullshit supporting as people. This is why procrastination is like a disease. Procrastination is the real virus, people. Get it together.
Real.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Rizzle.
Like, and the procrastination of self, like of yourself, of doing what you have to do for yourself. Like, even like, and I know people are going to be like, oh my God. But I know that when the world changes around us, we adapt to how our environment changes, right? So now all of a sudden everyone on lockdown is like, is working out every day and trying to eat healthy. Why is it taking like a major global virus to make you do that? And what will happen when they just open the doors and be like, okay, get on with your lives now. You're going to go back to eating burgers every day and like driving everywhere. Like, what's going to be the, you know, the lesson?
So I want to talk a little bit about why I feel like this clearing modality is like, not even feel like, why I know this clearing modality is so special and why it's so different. So first and foremost, our focus is the elements. Like, we are focused on the 5 elements, which are the building blocks to life.
Yeah.
They are in everything. And so, and we are made up of them. They are the building blocks of our physical form.
Yeah.
And so our focus in elemental emotional resonance clearing is approaching emotional clearing from an elemental perspective. So, but within that, we're not just, and then we're identifying stuck and stagnant emotion, trapped emotion. Emotion that's trapped inside that element. So, and in most cases, that what that means is inside an organ.
Definitely.
Right? So we are identifying stagnant, conditioned, or programmed, stuck emotions.
Yeah.
And
crystallized emotion.
And that, what were you saying?
Crystallized emotion, because emotion can really crystallize in physical form in the body.
Yeah. So with that, nothing new there, right? Lots of other modalities are identifying trapped emotions in the bodies and clearing them using kinesiology in the Chinese meridian system. The spiral being one of them, which is what I first learned. I'm an advanced spiral practitioner. I think it's an amazing modality. I'm here for it. All about it, right? But for us, when I really started taking a deep dive into 5 element theory and really started understanding how, you know, and I mean, like, when I say really started understanding, I've like barely scratched like a teeny fingernail of the surface of it, right? And my mind is blown. So Michelle's been studying this for years and years and years, and she's still studying. I mean, it's one of those things that the knowledge and wisdom on it is never ending.
Yeah.
So when I really started studying it, though, I was like, this goes so much deeper. There's so many more layers that we can uncover. And so from there, so we identify the emotion, but then we also identify what the main issue is that the stuck or stagnant or crystallized or programmed conditioned emotion is causing.
Yeah.
And then we identify the response that the person is having to that issue. But the real magic in this modality, I truly believe, is because we are completing a brain to body healing connection. Because the part for me that's really special is we are then going on to identify what is the primary question that is being solidified, you know, through the myelin forming around that neurotransmitter in our brain. Like, what is the primary question that is being reinforced as a result of the stuck and stagnant emotion, as a result of the issue that's arising from that, as a result of the response to that issue? What is the question that is being formed in our mind? And we're clearing all four of those things. So we're literally not only just clearing trapped emotion in the body, we are doing complete brain to body healing through the release of the primary question. And and when the primary question is no longer being reinforced and solidified, the myelin stops forming. It stops having its power and control over our lives, right?
Yeah, totally.
So that's really what makes this different. And it's a deeper level of clearing than I've ever experienced, than I've ever facilitated. It's blowing my mind. And, you know, I'm not even going to go into the whole next step, which is then we have mother-child relationships. So we have mother-child relationships, and then we have controlling cycles.
Destruction cycles. Generating.
And so potentially each clear that we do inside this modality could have 3 total clears to it. Not everyone would, but some might. It may be a 3-step process of all 4 of those steps that we just outlined. So the depth to this is, you know, and I think that it is, well, maybe we should kind of talk about the mother-child relationship for a minute, because I think one of the things, well, first I want to say why this piece with the primary questions is so important is if you have been if you're an emotional clearing practitioner, or you've done emotional clearing in the past, and you've identified stuck, stagnant, crystallized emotions, programmed emotions in your system, and you've cleared them, and you've experienced some immediate relief from that, but then the same pattern has come back and started showing up again, it's because you haven't identified this primary question and you haven't cleared the primary question. It is still reinforced. And so as a result, it continues to be reinforced. And it's not long before that emotion is going to become stagnant again, is going to become trapped in the body again. So that is, so I think that's a really important part. And it's why, like, I'm really encouraging any emotional clearing practitioners, get into our inner alchemy program for so many reasons, but understand the elements, understand the work that you're doing, understand this component of emotional clearing, and certainly begin to understand how that brain to body connection works, and why it's important to not only identify that emotion that's trapped in the organ, but to also know what the brain is doing, what that part is, like what's happening with that part of it, so that you don't have to keep repeating the clearing, right? So that you actually can get to the bottom of it. So that's the first step. But then the other thing is, it may continue to show up because you are only clearing a surface level of an issue. So you're clearing, you know, the upper dermis layer, when really the problem is inside. There's something rotting inside, right? Deeper inside, which could be the mother or the child relationship. So maybe do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So within the elements and emotions, and I think it's like it's the quick fix thing, right? Like you were saying, like the washing of the skin. It's like, you know, people that have really bad skin, say, or suffer with acne or whatever, they go out and they buy every cream on the market, every expensive face wash, but but the problem is actually coming from internally, you know. So you have to address like diet, you have to address different foundations like internal environments in order to for it to manifest physically. It's nothing really to do with how much cream or face wash you use. And it's the same, I guess, like with an elemental kind of emotional understanding, because yes, you have all of these emotions that then, you know, scurry off into their own mind maps of emotions within all of the elements. But just because you feel fear, like I can, you know, let's just talk about like what's happening right now. Fear is a huge thing, right? So fear is such a huge thing. So fear is relevant to the water element. It's to do with the kidneys and the bladder, like the water element. But what is, like you said about the question, what is creating the fear? You know, how has the fear become, you know, resonant in that element? So then we start looking in metal. We start looking into the metal element and what that represents. And often we find that the fear is manifesting from the metal element because it's actually that element that has been triggered. So it's that foundational element that requires the clearing. Just like we were saying about the immune system earlier on, you know, there's no point just throwing back probiotics without having a foundational level of how your body works. So it's really about being dedicated in all practices, not just this, but this is what's so magical about this emotional resonance clearing, is that we're really going to the blueprint, not even the foundations. Like we're working underneath the foundations. Like we're working with the blueprint of, you know, how the programming and the narratives that are formed, and, you know, emotional trauma that has formed and held in the body, like the blueprint of that, even right back to, you know, in embryo. So really getting under the blueprint and then seeing how the foundations have been built. Why have those foundational emotionals or chronic physical patterns been built on top of that blueprint? But if you don't see the original plan, then you're not going to know how to build your house.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that we're doing that's much different than many emotional clearing modalities is we're actually using the Chinese acupressure points to send the message to the body to do the clearing.
Yeah. The source
points, the source points.
Yeah. We call them source points in 5 acupuncture. Yeah.
So that's something also that is really unique here that's different, I think, that we're not just setting intention for the body to clear something by rubbing on a point somewhere. We're literally hitting that source point that is proven through 5-element theory and Chinese acupuncture to release trapped and stored emotions and circulate chi through the body, right?
Yeah, totally. And, you know, we don't always needle as well. Like I've been in practice when I've had somebody that really wants to experience acupuncture, but, you know, they're terrified of needles. And I would just use what we call a shani shin tool, like to, you know, use acupressure on the points. Like young children in pediatric acupuncture, you don't always needle at all. You can just apply acupressure with a little tool to those source points. And it's really no different. The science still remains, as it will have the same results in our resonance clearing.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about what we're doing. We're so excited about it. I think we're going to be having some workshops and some trainings on how to do the clearing modality sooner than later. So we're excited about that. Mm-hmm. But we literally have a program right now that's open for registration. It's called Inner Alchemy. And it is a 6-week journey through the elements. It is about self-mastery. It includes a nutritional component. And it's all about getting your elements into balance. And you will experience emotional resonance clearing inside of each of the modalities. You will experience a complete, amazing educational session on each element with Michelle, where she's going to explain the Shen cycle, right? She explains the Shen cycle. She explains the element. She explains the psychological and physical symptoms that can present as a result of elemental imbalance within that element. Are you talking about the creation and destruction cycles?
Yeah.
So she's talking about the cycles. you're talking about the mother-child relationships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she's doing education on all of this. I mean, it's crazy what you're getting in this program. So it's 6 weeks, it's $666. We still have spots available. You can still join. So if this is calling to you and this is resonating with you, I honestly, as an emotional clearing practitioner, I don't know why you wouldn't be in this program. Like why, like it's changed my life. I mean, it's changed my life so much that I literally created a new modality behind it, right? Like that's saying something.
Facts, yeah.
So if you already know, you're like, fuck yes, I'm in. I dropped the link to Inner Alchemy. Hold on. I'll give you the lead page again. Oh no, I didn't give the link to, here's the lead page for Inner Alchemy.
Yeah, you dropped Inner Alchemy for the
I gave the Joe Dispenza group and then I gave the masterclass. Okay, so let's talk about the masterclass. So Michelle and I are hosting a free 2 to 2.5 hour masterclass tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So this same time, right around the same time, 8 p.m. So like 30 minutes from now, tomorrow night, we're hosting a masterclass called Death to Humanity, the rebirth of the immortal soul. There's only 100 spots available. I don't know how many registrations we already have, like 35 or something, 35.
I'll check. I haven't checked.
Yeah, I haven't checked since this morning. So this morning we had like almost 30 registrations. So I'm assuming that it's filling up. And we just have spots for 100 people in there. So if you do want to come join us for that, like definitely jump on that. But Michelle, do you want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be discussing in there?
I mean, from my perspective, I'm really discussing like the programming and the narrative that has brought us emotionally to where we are at as humanity today, and the ability that we have to take those rotting foundations and turn them into a superpower. So essentially a part of us does need to die. And I think that death as well is an interesting narrative within us as people, not just like the physical realms, which we're quite uncomfortable with. A lot of people are quite uncomfortable with, which is why stuck emotion, physical conditions and stuff like that remain. So it's really about acknowledging and sinking into death in all aspects in order to create and recultivate and be okay with rebirth, Have you frozen, Leah? If anybody's watching, can you tell me if she's frozen too for you? I think she may have. Oh, there you are.
The internet is hating on me.
They didn't want us to talk the things again.
They didn't want us to talk about death to humanity.
Exactly. So it is like I was saying about death, it is about allowing certain aspects of the humanity that you have created based on projection and narrative and domestication, really getting to the nooks and crannies of all of those things that really have nothing to do with who you are or your purpose here, and allowing them to all just die.
Yeah.
Just allow them all to die and really step into the ideology of you being an immortal being, which you are in essence. So let's just let all the death happen and step into our God potential.
Yeah. I mean, like just talking about that, like at some level, like what's happening in the world right now, natural selection.
Yeah, straight.
Like survival of the fittest. And it's a natural part of life. And we can freak out about it and, create a fear pandemic around it. Or we can embrace the fact that we are immortal beings living inside a mortal vessel.
Yeah.
Really, a meat vehicle.
Yeah.
And work towards achieving every moment of every day in this mortal existence, immortality and self-mastery and knowledge and inspiration, so that immortal soul then, moves on to the next phase, whatever that is, with more, with better than what it came here with.
Yeah, exactly.
But the rejection of death and of the Ouroboros, right? Of the continual the continual cycle of death and rebirth, it has to happen. And
it does have to happen.
We fear it or we reject it, all we're doing is prolonging the inevitable. And life can be so beautiful when you learn to embrace and love the cycle of death and rebirth.
Yep. Because it is what it is, and it's the only facts that we know. Like, it's, you know, you can learn all of the stuff that you want to learn. The one thing you are promised is that death is going to come for you at some point. It's coming.
Yeah.
Like, and there's something about human beings as well, which, I mean, this part makes me gross out, especially which is what is happening. And I know you just mentioned natural selection. It's like, we don't care about how much animals we eat, what kind of disgusting farming conditions. We don't care about anything but ourselves. You know, we really don't care about anything outside of human existence. And there's something that separated us from, you know, really going back to spirit and learning that we are just part of, you know, the 5 elements. We are part of creation, and we all have our place here or not our place here. And just because we are human beings, why is it any different than, you know, the death and rebirth cycle that happens every day in different animals, or, you know, extinctions that happen? It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And that may seem, you know, I mean, I don't feel bad for that. It's truth. And it's not, it's just a natural cycle. At some point, these things have to happen. And there's no point really being like, oh my God, why is it happening to us? It's so awful. And it is horrible. And it is horrible. And my heart goes out to all people who are affected by what's going on. But at the same time, why wouldn't it happen?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it happen?
So if you want to come and get the real, raw, unfiltered, this was very tame. Our version of this was very tame for the presentation of the class. Censorship, people, censorship. If you want to come get the uncensored version of this, and you really want to learn how to embrace the divinity of your immortal soul through the death and rebirth cycle, like, come to this masterclass.
Yes, do it. Do the thing.
Come join us in this masterclass. It's free. The link's there.
Yeah, do it.
We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
And if Inner Alchemy is calling to you and you have questions about it, you can message either one of us. We're definitely happy to hop on a call with you and answer any questions that you have.
Absolutely. Definitely. All the time.
So that's it. Do the thing. If you don't sign up for the masterclass, I don't even know what you're doing with your life.
Real though. It's so real. You have to sign up. And it's free. Like you just said, it's totally free.
Yeah. So come get the knowledge and the wisdom and the shenanigans.
And the shenanigans, which is the most important part, obviously.
Bring your morning smoothie or your evening glass of wine or your noontime glass of wine, depending upon where you are in the world.
Yeah. Or your probiotics.
Or your probiotics or your smoothie. Just don't bring a smoothie bowl. That's where we draw the line. We won't allow you to stay on the masterclass if you bring a smoothie bowl.
Don't come with a smoothie bowl, please.
Or wear patchouli. The patchouli free zone. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you all in the masterclass mañana.
Yes, we will. Bye.